have a question for both of you guys since Jason brought this up. Because we're talking about, I know you two have both advocated declaring the cartels, or at least some of the cartels, terrorist organizations, and you've made persuasive arguments. I'm not entirely on board with that, which I can explain my position on that later, but I think that the American public really needs to get on board with an argument like that, needs to understand what our interest is in not seeing gun battles like that, not seeing corruption at the highest levels of the Mexican state. Why do we care?
Yeah, and listen, Todd, I think you're asking that question. You know, it's the question that I'm answering all over the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast.
What's the American interest in?
Yeah, absolutely. And how does it affect the American people every day, right? And I'll tell you, and it goes back exactly what I was showing earlier about the uniform crime report being broken. Across this country, every day at dinner tables, the American people are talking about human trafficking in their communities. They're seeing the arrests occurring at night, and they're not familiar with that term. Even they know it about the sex problem, the sex issues, but they don't realize it's linked to labor. And then it's also linked to debt bondage in many cases. We take that and now also add in the massive drug problem we're having, the human smuggling issue from one side of this country to the other. Not all of those crimes that underdeveloped nations historically always dealt with. Now in the United States, we are dealing with it. And the reason the data doesn't justify that, why I say we need to designate the Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, is because we don't collect it. Just as in the 1920s and 30s, we didn't collect data to understand how crimes were transiting states until we created the Uniform Crime Report. And today, we do not understand how transnational crime is completely affecting our country. So why does a retired captain and now a guy who owns his own private intelligence company, whose whole purpose of this company is to tell the American people what's happening, is because we were able to see it. By collaborating with local, state, federal, DOD, and the intelligence community partners, we created a unified command concept. We worked with over 172 agencies, and we could see every one of them's data. And we were stunned. People ask me all the time, how did Texas get $880 million from your legislature in one legislative session for border security? Todd, $2.2 billion with a B from the state legislature from 2006 until I retired in 2016. How? Because we showed them, because we had the data, and we showed our legislative body how bad the problem was from the murders. But up north, they can't do that. All the American people can see and feel is the murders that are happening in their communities, the sexual assaults that are happening in their communities, but it's not linked to transnational crime.
Got it. So you're arguing that the effects are actually very widespread, but they're just not measured.